There was a time in my life when if somebody asked me if I loved myself, I would say, of course I do. And yet I don't think I did. Yes, I did take care of my body. I did yoga before that became a fashion. I wrapped my body in silky materials and beautiful clothes. I walked with confidence. I liked how I looked. Yeah, if I looked in the mirror, I'm like, yeah, looking good. And then one day I looked at my relationships. At that time, I was in a particularly bad relationship with a man who now would be easily labeled as a narcissist. Whether he is narcissist or not doesn't really matter. What matters is that I have chosen to enter this relationship. What matters is that I was allowing him to mistreat me. I was setting boundaries, and then I was the first one to cross them, to move them. I was saying that I want to be treated with respect, but I'm not sure I really treated myself with respect. So looking at my actions from that time, I realized that I was modeling for him how to treat me. Like my body, don't know who I am. The truth is that we can only love this which we know. And I didn't know myself at that time. I was desperately trying to reconnect with me and to get to know the real me, but I couldn't even access it. How could I love something I don't know? See, here's the truth. We can only love this which we know. What we don't know, we fear. What we don't know, we avoid. What we don't know, we run away from. So there I was, not knowing who I am, being in a terribly painful relationship and completely unable to leave it. I knew I had to leave. This was terrible for me and I couldn't do it. I did not know how to do it. I felt trapped. I felt like I was under a spell. And that was the spell that woke me up, shook me really well, so I can begin to ask empowering questions, so I can begin to see the truth. If I loved myself, I wouldn't have chosen that man. If I loved myself, I wouldn't have stayed in this relationship for as long as I stayed. If I loved myself, I would have guarded my boundaries and I wouldn't move them to suit him and his desires. I wouldn't people please him at my expense. I wouldn't allow anyone, including him, to treat me with disrespect. The truth is that at that time I didn't respect myself enough in order to be kind to myself and to give to myself what I was asking from others. These were painful times. And yet these are the times that I'm really, truly grateful for. Because this is when I began to really go into the process of knowing myself so I can love myself. It's been a long process of transformation, of clearing, of shifting, of changing, of learning how to be with myself, how to be loving and kind to myself. And I am here to share this knowledge. I am here to provide some shortcuts because we all need shortcuts at this time. These are difficult times. There will be more challenges, and it is essential that we bring more love into this world. And we can start with ourselves. Now, let me tell you something. I've been hearing a lot of talk about changing the world. I don't know if the world needs to change. But I am convinced that what the world needs right now is more loving. And how do we do that? We bring more love into our own lives. Start with yourself. Remember when the recycling concept first came up? And it was like, yeah, you start with your backyard. You start conserving electricity and water at home. And if everybody does it, then we have enough for everyone. Well, this is similar. If each one of you starts loving yourself, you will be full of love, and that love is going to spill out into the world. You'll be a beacon of love, a beacon of light. This is how we create a more loving world. You start with yourself. You start loving and honoring yourself. You start being kind to yourself. And when you are kind to yourself, you become more conscious about being kind to others. And being kind to the earth, and being kind to the air and to the water and to everything that surrounds us. And this is how we create a world full of love and happiness and harmony. Unfortunately, what we have been bringing into this world is the energy of anger, of disappointment, of greed, of what's in for me, of competition, of not honoring ourselves and not honoring others. We've been bringing the energy of, you're different, therefore I'm going to be at war with you. We've been bringing the energy of scarcity. It's time to repair that. It's time to start loving more. We've learned how to love our dogs and our cats, but we still don't know how to love a human being, how to love our children even, especially when they begin to show characteristics that are different from what we expect. We still don't know how to love another human being, another person. We all long for connection, for partnership, but how do we show up in our relationships? Do we show up with solid knowing of our value, our own value, of the value that we bring into the relationship? Or do we show up with, I'm better than you, I know best what's good for you and this is how you should do it? This is otherwise known as control. So let me tell you another truth. It's a law of the universe. You either relate or you control. You cannot do both at the same time. You cannot try to control another human being and claim that you love them and relate to them. There's no way. So start here. Start with observing in your day-to-day life the moments in which you relate and the moments in which you're trying to control, whether control yourself, control others. By the way, when you try to control yourself, you're withholding. You're not relating to yourself, you're disconnecting from yourself. When you're trying to be somebody else, when you're putting a mask so you can fit in or so you can be accepted by others, you're disconnecting from yourself and you're entering the energy of you disapproving of yourself. You looking for approval from others means that you're not approving of who you are. And not expecting that approval to come from outside is a form of self-love. When I talk about approving yourself, I'm not talking about being full of yourself. Self-love carries a lot of responsibility. It's a responsibility to be your best self. It's a responsibility to be kind to yourself and to others. It's a responsibility to show up fully, to utilize your full potential. Self-love is a responsibility for kindness. Then yes, some people may not want the responsibility that comes with self-love. The issue with that is that eventually, without responsibility for the self, we can never be happy. We might be successful monetarily, but we will fail on a soul level. And I believe that we're here to expand on the level of the soul, to expand our hearts, to expand our understanding of ourselves and of each other. So I have prepared a group coaching that is live, that will teach you how to embody self-love, how to apply it in your day-to-day life so you can become a beacon of love, so you can have more harmonious relationships with yourself and with others. I am Gina Brezzini, your guide to loving yourself fully.